Good morning, magnificent morning, excellent afternoon, and fantastic evening. This is Carla from Rehan Allahwala's World of Connections, and I am here today to speak with Raheen Fatima. She is a 14-year-old girl. I think I met her when she was 11 or 12, and she is quite ambitious for a child her age. And I enjoy talking to her, and I just thought I'd do another interview and catch up with Raheen. Having said that, I want to remind you that this interview, like all of my interviews, is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. Raheen, please introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you so much for the whole intro. Like I noticed that, I don't know, the magnificent morning part has changed since I, used to co-host the show with you, but the whole Institute of Peace thing just the same. And I feel like it brought back memories and times from when we used to do the show. But so my name is Raheen. I am 14. And yes, you did meet me when I was 12, very young. Oh my God, I was weird, but weird is unique. So I am a stand-up comedian, writer, entrepreneur, teacher, interviewer, theater actress, a peace and a children's rights activist. And the goal of my life is to empower everyone around me, cares their race, their religion, their caste, or their creed. That's me. I'm from Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Rawalpindi, Islamabad. I was in Islamabad before. I think they're the same thing, almost the same thing. But I keep on moving around my country. So yeah, I might move next year or the year after that. I don't know.
Why are you moving so often?
We moved so much because of my dad's job. So I was born in some place. I was born in Peshawar, then I was in Karachi, raised in a whole nother place, came to Islamabad, now in Pindi. So yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna go next. And I feel like that's the cool part of it. So like for some people like me, it's the cool part of like my dad's job and their lives. And for some people, it's the not so good part because you're gonna move the whole house, the whole everything, right? Your environment changes, your friends that you had, you're gonna make new friends. Or I can't, again, some people can keep old friends, some people can't. So really depends on who you are and how you perceive this part of life.
And tell me how you perceive it.
For me, it has been awesome. I feel like how my networking even started is because of that. Because here when you have friends, like when my neighbor just moved in and I met her up with her for the first time yesterday, and I just learned that she had 7 cats and that she is a junior in a high school, which is pretty cool. So now we're friends. But for like a lot of people, that's not what they do, is that they ring the bell and be like, hi, my name is Raheen, do you want to be friends? Not all people would do that. I would do that because I'm comfortable with it. And so how I have sort of took my life in this part of my life is in a very cool way, because I think it's nice that I get to change houses and then I get to have experience a lot of my country. And then yeah, a lot of times it is sad that I move and then all friends are left behind, or sometimes that they move and I'm still in the same place. But again, right now we have technology, so somehow they'll be suggested for you on Instagram and then you'll find them. But a lot of old friends, you would not find them, but you have amazing memories. Yeah.
Can you Now, you say you move around. Where are some of the places you've been living?
So I was born in Peshawar, which is the capital of a state here, province, I'd say. Yeah, province here. And so then I went to Karachi. Back then I was 8 months. So by the time I was 3.5, then we moved to Rawalpindi, which is a base. It's an Air Force base, which was pretty cool. So I moved there then. And then I lived there for about 6-7 years, which is a pretty long time. So I actually had friends that were there. They went to another place and then came back. So it was for that long that, my dad was there. And then I came to Istanbul. Then we were in one house, then we moved to another house there. And then we're here in Rawalpindi right now. And well, I think we'll probably move next year. I think
Right.
that, but I don't know where, and I don't know even if. So that's the mystery of it.
Why do you think you're moving next year?
Because of my dad's job. It's like we don't stay in places for long, right? We would stay at an average, because of my dad's position, 2-3 years, 4 years if we're lucky. Because in here in his organization, it's lucky people get to stay in places for long, like us in one of the places like for like 6-7 years, because you don't have to like move. You're there and you're more chilled out. Because if you're not, then again, you would just keep your house such as that you would quickly move to another place and then to another place.
Yeah, that would kind of make it very difficult on a child. How does it feel to be moving so much?
I mean, I always I remember when I moved from Rizal, but it was very sad. Like I cried because I went there when I was 3.5, and then I came back when I was 10. So I spent my first day of school was there, and a lot of special moments. Like I learned cycling there. I learned lots of things. I experienced my phases. I experienced my Michael Jackson, which is probably my biggest phase there. So all of those things were there. When I was moving, I was very, very sad because I had best friends there, and I still have them on Instagram though. But it was like a whole new chapter because that was a very, very small place. I moved to the capital of the country, Islamabad, and then we tried so many places. And then I started the whole professional career. So that was very interesting. And then I moved again, and I know I'll move again. So for me, it is awesome, but it is very sad at times when you know that, you leave old friends behind. For me, making new friends isn't a problem, but I have friends that are like shy and they have a lot of problems. And I even know people that prefer not to talk to like anyone in school because they know that they'll move. And certain positions require you to move like every year. So they knew that they're just here for a year and they don't care. And nobody else does either because they understand. They're like, they don't want to get attached. It's weird.
Now, do you get attached to the people you meet as you move throughout the country?
I do. I have made friends that I feel like I will never forget for lots of reasons. But for me, I feel like getting attached and then wanting to stay connected has taught me how to sustain a relationship. I might not be amazing at it when it comes to if we've been working together, like professional relationships, but I'm nice at it when it comes to like friendships or like personal relationships, because I know that I need to text them and I'm good at remembering birthdays and everything. So I would do that just to, go back and forth on texting if that's necessary to keep that friend.
So, what have you been doing? Because it seems to me you've started in a new school, and how is life in this new school?
It's pretty cool. I love my old school. I love my new school. Sorry. So what has been happening is that I've been writing TED, And that TEDx is in my old school, and now I'm in my new school. So I have interviews and sessions where I'm very open about loving my new school. And then I have a TED where I'm also saying that I love my old school because I have memories there. So it's kind of going back and forth right now. But this school was very special because I even got an admission on a scholarship because of LinkedIn, because of a lot of it has to do with Rehan, because Rehan was a mutual connection. And when he knew that, so I'm going to start from the beginning. Michael Strong, the founder of the Socratic Experience, the school, it's an online American-based school. And I am a freshman at a high school. So the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, all of us are studying together in a Zoom room, which is something that I wouldn't have imagined myself doing, but now I'm doing and I'm loving it. And I don't know how I got through my Christmas and New Year's break, but somehow I did. So I started doing all these educational interviews. And so I saw this common sort of connection. And out of those, and that was Michael Strong, and I interviewed him, and then I got to know about the Socratic Experience, and I was like, I want to be part of this. But I had gone through the website.
Now for a moment, what experience? The surprise experience?
The Socratic Experience.
Okay, tell me about that.
So, to what I know, and I am not very well researched, I am just gonna put it out there about my school, but so Socrates was a Greek philosopher, and I believe that, as per many great Greek philosophers, such as Socrates himself, had a great way of discussing their ideas and made new discoveries. So yeah, and Socrates at that time was like a whole rebel. I believe he was also killed because of that. I don't know. I just heard that in a TED yesterday, so that's pretty fresh. But so the Socratic Experience, here we discuss ideas and have Socratic dialogues as part of our learning process, which for me has helped a lot. And not only can you see it in now the way and the things that I've learned, but if to sound very orthodox, has also been showing in my grades. So yeah.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Give me an example of the Socratic way of learning.
So I'm going to first tell you my classes. So we have humanities, which we read and we watch and we listen and we talk about it. So that is humanities. Like recently we did a play, like 2,500-year-old play, Antigone by Sophocles, and it's all about the old Greek, ancient, it's set in ancient Greece, and it's about, yeah, it's a long story. It's about the in the city of Thebes and the people there, and then a burial, and I'll send you the summary later, probably, if you want to know more. So we did that, and then we used to read it and we used to discuss. And so with reading these sort of things, and read George Orwell, and then we've done harder material, but that is before I came in. And so we read all these sort of things, and then we discuss about them. And then there's always things when you read it, you find something interesting or you question a part of it, and we do that. And then that's how the conversation starts. And it's a 2-hour-long class. And we have STEM, which is science and math. And then one part is science, and we're always talking about something. Recently, we've been doing coding, like specifically Java coding. So we've been learning about logic and symbols and that in coding. And then we do math at our own level of math, because a lot of people here were homeschooled their life. So some people are on some level and some people are on another. And we have electives that we can choose from. So these are 2 classes that you have to take, an elective that you can choose to take. And I, like almost everyone in my class, I take philosophy, politics, and economics. And that's a class that is facilitated or guided by Michael Strong himself. So we've been talking about many things, but the latest thing that we talked about, I believe, was the Declaration of Independence, and we got to discuss that, which is very nice. It was the first time me reading the Declaration of Independence, and I'm not even from the US, so for me it was pretty, oh, this is a nice thing from history. So I did that. So these are the sort of things that we do, and it is different from all things. Is we do not read textbooks in class, and the teacher does not dictate, and we don't have to memorize, and we do not have any exams in the school. I came here and we've only had one quiz, and yeah, that was the only quiz we had, and we just have to give our SATs if we want to go to college. That is with exams and testing, and grading is done on, because I mentioned my grades, there is a whole thing that I would fill out as to how self-evaluation, how I would evaluate myself. And then based on that, would the teacher agree or disagree or write her thoughts down? And that is sent to my dad and me, because we shared the email. So yeah, that is how we are graded upon our written assignments and our usually we have a doc, like a Google Doc that is going on where we add our thoughts about classes and or prompts that are given by the teacher that we answer. Yeah.
How many hours do you spend in class?
So our class is 2 hours each, and we have a break in the middle, so it's 4 hours. But if including the time that I would spend on my assignments or after class each day, just going through the material or researching a little more, an hour. So it would be 5 to 6 hours is what I spend on school every day.
And how many hours is one class?
One class is 2 hours.
So you have 3 classes each day then?
No, I have 2 classes each day, and on Wednesday is off from all classes, but I have PPE.
What is PP?
Philosophy, politics, and economics.
And you do that with Michael Strong, or?
Yeah, I do that with Michael Strong himself. We all do, part of the class.
So with this, I'm trying to get an understanding of the day. I've actually met Michael, and I love the philosophy he uses. When you're in class, is it answering and discussing questions for the most part, or?
What we would usually do is we have a theme sort of going on for our discussions for a week. Like if for a week we are studying light and color, then that would be naturally the theme of our discussion. And it is, well, starting out with what we think we're going to learn today. And then we either have some sort of video or even options. Most of the time is that either we could read something, either we could see something or hear something, however we would prefer it. We do that and then come back with some questions that we would want to ask other people because we did not understand something, and just thoughts we'd want to share. And then from there, we might just jump into a conversation. So sometimes the teacher would have a question herself, maybe that she's not understanding, or maybe that she just wants our perspectives on. And well, we're naturally questioning our understanding, not other people's understanding, and asking each other questions and discussing our answers more as how we would learn in class. Focusing more on the STEM part because we go in longer discussions and more detailed discussions in humanities because we're reading something like a piece usually written a while ago.
Now, are the students basically international, or are they from the United States for the most part?
I believe all our students are from the United States. Yeah, I'm the only girl in class, and I'm the only person outside of the, like, not from and also outside of the United States. So it's pretty cool because every time that we talk about, let's say, the Declaration, or the Constitution, or just like the US culture in general, it's pretty cool that they would always want to like hear my perspective, because again, my perspective is mostly based on the so far experience of my high school and Netflix and of my country, of me being born here. So it's pretty cool as to how my perspective could even, change the class's perspective somehow, or impact the conversation.
How many kids are in a classroom?
So we have two, so to say, two sections, like two pods, so pod A and pod B. And so in the pod that I am, pod B, we are 13 kids, but in pod A, there are more than that. There are like more than 15 kids at least.
So the school is rather small.
I would say so. But this is the high school, right? So there's also a middle school, which I do not know how many children there are there.
Oh, so does it start like at kindergarten and go through high school, or?
No, it's middle school and then high school. We don't offer kindergarten.
And you've been there for about 6 months now, right?
No, I joined late. I joined October 4th.
And the students that you work with,
Yeah.
are they the same kids going from one class to another, or does the class change?
No, all high schoolers are together. So the freshman would also work with the senior in the same classroom.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel awesome, honestly, because so I do have like friends, like I'm friends with all my class, but I'm close friends with some of them. And now, for example, like we have a project and for PPE, Michael's class. And for me, I like to work with a partner or with a team because I feel like that's how I function my best. And again, I have my fair share of distractions, and then they can help me get focused. And they also have their fair share of distractions, and I can help them. So T is a senior. And so I partnered up with them for our project. So they're like very good at reading and offer a new perspective. So I appreciate them and they appreciate me.
Now, you've been talking about TEDx recently. How did that begin?
Oh, so I had a dream of going to TEDx for a very long time because one of my first memories was a TEDx. It was me and my dad watching a TEDx about a woman that was talking about if I was a mother. And all I remember from that is that I would always have chocolate handy for a quick fix. Yeah, that's one of my first memories, actually. So that's how long I've been watching TEDx. And so anytime I even had something in my school, I would go to TED for inspiration. And so like that's where I was like, so when I ever speak on TED, if I ever do, like, that's going to be like a big achievement in life. And so I went on a physical TED event it was very good. It was very nice TEDx's. And I remember I said to my dad, you know what? I'm going to be here. The next time I go to a TEDx, it's going to be mine. So it's me being very dramatic. And so again, by the time I was working, but when it was not COVID and I was working, I didn't have the connection. I didn't have the connections yet to get to a TEDx. And then I was in COVID and I was working amazingly. And I did have the connections, but we could not do it. And finally, when COVID sort of, calmed down, I saw something on LinkedIn, or it was a promotional something. I saw something, it was a TEDx, and I was like, I want to do it. So I wrote to them and I'm like, I want to do this TEDx. So it was in Lahore, and the theme was owning it. And so I did my first TEDx, and that was actually the second TEDx I went to. So me saying, oh my God, the next TEDx I go to is going to be mine, what actually became reality, which I say was really nice. And that TEDx will always be very, very special for me. Though my dad and my mom were not in the audience, I knew nobody in the audience because it was at a high school, and my parents couldn't come to that. So that was a little bit of, oh my God, I want to have them there. But I became friends with all the people that were there. So I made new friends.
And what was the topic of your TEDx talk?
It was basically on, I don't remember what the title I gave was, but it was about exploring and exposing yourself in order to find your true potential, right? And your true calling. And so it was very nice that I started with a story. I started with my brother's cancer story. And so I started with that. And that is how I got a realization of like, I could die any day, and I better do this now, right? Than dying unsatisfied. And that's how I started working. And I shared that story and how I started exploring. And I think I also mentioned you in the TEDx. I mean, you're in this one, just so you know, the one that I'm writing right now. So yeah, and I am scheduled for another TED. I don't know if I can say the date or not because I did not get any guidelines yet. But no, it's also one at a high school for juniors and above. And a freshman is given a talk, which is pretty ironic if how I see it. And it's my old school. So I think just going on campus and seeing the people that I used to see, and even some older people that were a little mean, just have me as a freshman give a talk would be pretty cool.
Okay, again, I'm a little confused. What was the topic for your first TEDx?
It was about how I found my passion at such a young age and how you could do that too.
What is your passion and how did you find it? You don't need to talk for 18 minutes, but tell me your passion and how is it going to get it? How are you doing things to get it out there into the world?
Yeah, so I want to empower everyone around me, regardless of their race, religion, their caste, or their creed. And that's a very big passion, and I know that way too well. And how I decided to get to it is to empower people through my conversations, right? And so my interviews and the conversations and the dialogues that I have, sometimes actually and recently have ended up in collaborations on solving an issue, which has been very nice. And so I want to keep doing that. And also, I tell about how I explored all my options, or even things that I thought could never be an option for me, and also expose myself to different cultures and different races, religions, and most importantly, to different situations that are awkward and that are weird, but you have to deal with them after all. So yeah, that's my talk in a nutshell.
Good. So what is your passion?
My passion is empowering people, and how I'm doing it is through conversations because I choose to. Yeah.
And when did you find out what your passion is? When did you figure it out?
I figured, I mean, I knew that I just wanted to work right now, or I wanted to do something and make a difference. When I was 10, started working when I was 11 with stand-up comedy. And so when I started doing that, I knew that I wanted to expand first, and to not only make people laugh, but to empower them. And that too, not only through making them laugh. And so then I expanded to entrepreneurship and working with the startup, and then again I met Rehan and the whole game legitimized. So
Now, you want to empower people and you want them to become more of themselves. Why is this important to you?
it is important to me to empower people to reach their true potential, because see, I'm a firm believer, and it is actually a saying in our language, is that if you have recognized or found out your true potential, you have recognized God, right? So it's like that big, even if you like, that is if you believe in God. But so I feel like a lot of the young people and even the old people that haven't really tapped into their passion, into their potential and their abilities, because see, I might have a whole new potential or passion than you do, and for me it is necessary to find out mine and to reach that level where I can get to it. Now I just encourage people and empower them to start exploring themselves, and start exploring around them to find their potential and to find their passion, to then not just wait for turning 18 or going to college or moving out, to start working on something. And why not that be something that makes you happy? And so if you die any day, you die a happy, okay, let's not say if not a happy, let's say a satisfied person that has contributed to not only their community, but to their goal for their lives that they chose.
When did you decide this was your passion? How old were you?
When I decided this, I was 11. Yeah, I was 11.
So when I met you, you had decided your passion.
Oh yes, I did. But back then was the time that I did not know how to get to it. I knew what my passion was. I had no idea how to get to it. And then it was actually your show that I even started talking to a lot of people. And I was like, this is interesting. I want to keep talking to people and not know what we're going to talk about, but that's so cool. And it was after you and Rehan both recommended me to start interviewing, like all the connections I'd made, was then I even started interviewing. And then so that went, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, I remember that. This interview in itself, in the beginning, you said, I want to know what we're going to talk about. And what did I say to you?
Well, we don't know. Let's just let the conversation go on. Yeah, or something like that. So,
And how is that making you feel right now?
I feel like, yes, the conversation, especially a conversation with you, goes however it wants. And so, I mean, and even when we used to do the show together, it was like we never knew what we were going to talk about. And then when I started co-hosting the show, I had no idea what I was going to say next. And so I just be like, hey, what's your name? What's happening? And so it was like, how was your day today? And then so it went on and on and on. And sometimes we're actually just talking about people's college career and we actually had this very cool PhD on our show once. And then so we started talking about the details of his PhD. So it was very cool how just a hi, how was your day today, could go on to become so good. And I feel like that has happened to us even when we are off record and talking, or off live and talking.
In my mind, that's what a conversation really is.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it like I do it. You are missed on the English show, and I know you can't come during the week, but I hope you will come more on Sundays, because Rehan, Raheen, you are still a child, and I keep on reminding you about that. When do you have time to be a child and to go out and have ice cream, or go out and go to a party? Do you have time for that at all?
I do. I actually, so during the week, like at night, like I have school. So, and even otherwise, I have very stricter parents. So no night going out stuff, no.
I know.
But yeah, so I do have a very close friend, my best friend, Zara. I need to mention her. If I ever send her the link to this, she'll be like, you never mentioned me. But so me and her, I'm sorry, her and I, yeah, her and I, me and her. Okay, whatever. We go out a lot. So we do a lot of that. So she was sleeping over, like, so she came on Monday and then she left yesterday. And so we do sleepovers, which is very uncommon in Pakistan. So like we do not go for sleepovers ever. So we get to do that, and then we grab waffles. Yesterday with my neighbor, we just like rang the bell. We're like, hey, we are Raheen and Zara. Do you want to be friends? That was awkward for her, but for me that was cool. And so we do that, and I do a lot of that. I do not have friends in the place that I live. Like I live in a gated community, but I just made friends with my neighbor. I'm probably gonna go check her cats out and be like, what is this? Because I'm scared of cats.
I know, and I don't know why you're so scared of cats.
I actually became pretty cool. So when I used to do theater, there used to be this male cat, and so we I was just scared because it's like a whole living thing, but it's not size of a human. I don't know why it used to freak me out, but I was like cool with it, right? So I didn't like to touch it. I don't know why, but it was fine if it was like around me or sometimes even on me. It's cool. Once it just ate my food, and then it went angry when I tried to go and grab the food that was a little. So it was basically a wrap. You know, it was, I don't know, it was like a burrito. And so I had half of that on a chair and half of that on the table. So it ate. So he ate the one on the chair, and then I was freaked out. And then I went near him to stop him from eating the other part. And so he got angry, like very angry. And I don't know, started making sounds. And I freaked out. And so from then on, no. But I do have this pretty cool cat. We have a lot of cats around our house. like outside of it. I have one cat. Whenever I'm watching Netflix or a film, like there's this one film that we watched almost like the whole thing together because it comes and it sits in the window, and so it can see the TV, and so the cat's just there, like it's just there, and we're watching Netflix together.
Ah, and what do you like on Netflix?
I watch a lot of things on Netflix. I just watched this film today, Don't Look Up, and it's about like a comet hitting Earth and then Earth being destroyed. I don't like to watch these things, but that one was pretty cool. And then I watched another film today. I watch a lot of films, but I love a lot of TV shows, and one of my favorite one is Alexa and Katie. It's about a best friends, and one of them has cancer and their journey, because it's relatable because I have a best friend like Katie, and then I have a brother that had cancer, so I can relate to many things in that journey.
How is your brother? My ex-fiance.
My brother is doing great. He's sleeping.
Gotten over that yet?
Oh no, yeah, he has. Like I mentioned it like a day or two ago, and he's like, "Oh my God, remember when that happened?" And I'm like, mm-hmm. And so, you know what? I'm dying to go. And that's probably going to take me like a century just to get to that point, because I do not remember the date. But to go back to that point and somehow magically save or reshare that on my pages somehow, just the point when he said, "Will you marry me?" Because I will record it, I will save it and cut to that point and like literally torture him with that every day of his life, especially when like he's a teenager and then he starts having like his friends over, and I'd be like, "So did you know Ibrahim was engaged?" And then I show him that, and then like it's magical from there.
Actually, send it to me when you do it, because I would love to put it on my YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, you would. Of course, you can brag like a 4-year-old proposed you.
And I said yes, not knowing it was going to go on for months. Somehow I think it was around this time.
Oh yes, it was. I knew that it was around New Year's. Oh my God, remember when we spent the 2019 New Year's together? Like I remember vividly that. So what we decided on, I think I was wearing the same thing. I was wearing the same thing. So we did the show for the 31st, and we did that, and then we started talking, me and you. And so we actually got to a point where it was like 11:59, and then it was it was the New Year. So we spent that like together in a Zoom room, which is really special for me.
And that was your time, not my time.
But for me, it was, right? Wait, you're behind me, right? Like time.
Yeah.
You're behind me.
I'm 10 hours behind you.
Yeah, because I know that like you live in DC. I don't know if it's the Washington one and there's another one. Apparently there's two DCs.
DC. Same one. There's a Washington state, but that is not, I don't live in the state.
Yeah, like honestly, like now that I watch a lot of Netflix, I do have like a lot of friends all around like the United States, and I'm like, why do they even live there? Why don't they live in Los Angeles? Like, or why don't they live in New York? And then I realized it's like that's just like me not living in Karachi. So yeah, makes sense.
Well, you know, we've been talking for a while. How do you feel about this interview?
It feels very good, honestly, because I think it's also because we've known each other. So this is like a little catch up. And it feels very nice to just be able to share a lot of these things, because you know, you really need to get some ideas out of your head. And why not that be with Carla? Guys, subscribe and like and share. out to your friends and family
Well,
and let them know about what's happening in my life and how Carla is so good at just like asking questions. And then when you answer them, sometimes even I have had realizations and more clarity in the ideas that I have had or either I'm expressing.
right. So I think we're going to end this. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I knew you wanted to talk, so I figured why not do an interview and make it live? And do you have any special words you want to leave the audience with?
Yes, I do. So for me, it's the 31st. For me, I'm probably just gonna go to sleep and have the last day of 2021. I just would want to say, guys, we are starting a new year and we've seen so much this year. And just say for the past 2 years at this point, and a lot of us are vaccinated and we're over COVID or we're done with it. So I think it's time to go back to our life and start enjoying it the way and to start setting little goals for yourself for the next year, not too controlling goals, like not planning life in any way, just setting some milestones that when you achieve, you'll be happy, I am sure. And just that contributing to your goal and impacting those around you, I'm sure. So
Thank you so very much, Raheen. The time has come to end this conversation, but you don't go anywhere until I tell you you can. You know that.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for spending the time with me. And I want to thank those who watch this for watching and taking the time. And the Institute of Peace that Rehan Allahwala has created for sponsoring this interview. And with that, we're going to wave goodbye and we will talk to you later. Have a great morning, an excellent afternoon, and a magnificent evening. Bye.